In the Brazil favelas, typical roof structures are normally made out of materials such as corrugated iron or concrete. However, both of these roofing materials have many dangers associated with them, such as various health hazards and leaks. The common disadvantages faced by favela residents using such roofs include 1. The high thermal conductivity of metals causes unbearable heat under the sun, leading to health effects such as heat stroke. 2. The poor workmanship and material selection of the roofs often lead to conventional safety hazards such as noise and personal injury. This also leads to high maintenance costs associated with repairs, which are often time-intensive and require technical expertise. 3. The degradation of the material used commonly leads to leaky roofing during heavy precipitation. Why Brazil? Approximately 6%, 12 million people, of Brazil's population live in favelas. This number is even greater in Rio, with a staggering 22%, 2.7 million people of the city's population living in favelas, indicating Brazil has a large untapped market for affordable housing solutions. Brazil had an increase of 6.7% in its manufacturing production capacity compared to last year, showing an increased national emphasis on production. This increase is also linked to the Brazilian economy, which has finally recovered from its recent recession. All of these factors make Brazil a prime candidate for an innovating housing product to emerge, such as ModRoof.
In developing an appropriate business plan to successfully and positively impact the bottom of the pyramid, it is important to understand the customer segment from multiple aspects. The four identified aspects characterizing the customer segment include infrastructure qualities, social qualities, economic qualities, and political qualities. Identifying key characteristics under these qualities will shape how the business model will be developed. In terms of infrastructure, although 2% of the land in Rio de Janeiro is considered a slum-like community, 25% of Rio's population live in the favela communities, equivalent to 27 million people. In these communities, they often have the worst waste management systems, typically due to the lack of established sanitation and utility services in these areas. Often, individuals make do with what is locally available, which is why corrugated iron is a popular choice. Favela housing is also a gradual construction job spanning over generations. This has led to concrete as another popular roofing choice, as it gives households the flexibility to expand their home vertically when they are financially able. Lastly, lack of proper urban planning has led to the urban heat island effect, where temperatures within communities are substantially hotter than surrounding areas. The retention of thermal energy for the metal roofing and stagnant hot air within the alleys has led to unbearable temperatures at all times during the day. For economic qualities, studies show that 4% of Brazil's population live in extreme poverty, translating to family incomes of $5.50 USD a day, with an average 3 to 4 members per household. Brazilian consumers are often described as increasingly aware of affordable alternatives and special discounts offered by various establishments. Furthermore, due to high household debt and purchasing on credit, many consumers have limited consumption of luxury goods, becoming less loyal to larger, well-known brands. For methods of payment, paying on credit and payment applications like PayPal are becoming increasingly popular. For political qualities, there have been long-standing conflict between the government and its impoverished people. But in order to successfully operate in these regions, government partnerships are important. Two important projects that were identified were the Minha Casa, Minha Vida program, which will be further investigated, and the Favela Bairro project, sponsored by the IADB. The next clip shows local residents talking about the lack of government collaboration and what the residents have done to take action.
É porque você sempre espera pelo poder público. E o poder público nunca está pronto para você. Porque se a gente não fizer aqui, não é eles que vão vir aqui fazer.
As coisas são mais permitidas. E outro é um lugar muito esquecido.
For social qualities, the poor people, dubbed the people of the hill, often reside at the top of the hills of Rio, making distribution very difficult. However, there are strong ties between people and their homes due to the generational construction and individuality of favela homing. Communities often respect displays of individuality through art and cultural activities, which increase community pride. An example of this was the favela painting art project by Hassan Han in Santa Marta. In terms of building the favelas, the process is very organic and evolves with the construction of neighboring homes. There is a mutual level of respect for neighbors when building and expanding homes to not intrude into the space of others.
The solution to the problem of inadequate roofing is ModRoof by Rematerials. Mod roof is a modular roof tile. The tiles are primarily made of cardboard waste and coconut fiber. Both of these materials are abundant in Brazil. The roof is strong, waterproof, long-lasting, and it will not drastically increase the temperature of the home. The tiles are also much safer than corrugated metal roofs. In addition, mod roof is 4 to 7 times cheaper than concrete roofing. The manufacturing, distribution, and material collection for this product are income generating. However, mod roof is a young product, and it has only been implemented in India. Moving this product across the world to Brazil presents challenges. Most waste in Brazil favelas goes straight to the landfill. One barrier for recycling in Brazil is the lack of infrastructure and municipal recycling programs. Only 62% of the Brazilian population have access to regular garbage collection, and the collection of recyclable material is very rare. However, the product itself is reusable when they want to rebuild their house vertically, for example, add an extra level on the top. Adding additional stories to a favela is less physically taxing when using mod roof in comparison to the current roofing materials such as corrugated iron, which are much heavier. Another big barrier to entry is reach and distribution. The poorest people in favelas are often at the top of the hills, and they may only be accessible by foot. The population of Brazil's largest favela is 70,000, at least according to the census. However, it is estimated that the population is actually closer to 180,000. This implies that it's difficult to reach those who are poor and will need the roof the most. Being able to collect all the materials for the mod roof is not easy. Recall that coconut fiber and recycled cardboard are the primary materials. 80% of Brazil's coconut harvesting is done in the northeast region. However, recyclable waste is prominent in the southeast, which is where the population is more dense. Integration of the product is another challenge to address. Some municipalities choose to contract waste collection work to private firms. Municipalities are gradually developing their own programs, however, funding is a limiting factor. Typically, the funding that a municipality receives for a structured recycling program is proportional to its population. However, there are many small Brazilian favelas, meaning that they don't receive a lot of funding for these types of programs. Presently, cleaning contracts from municipalities do employ local labor, otherwise known as waste pickers. With the introduction of mod roof, it creates opportunities for more labor contracts. This means that there will be more local income and an increased local environmental awareness.
Mod roof is currently produced on a small scale in Ahmedabad, India by its parent company Rematerials. The process by which the product is made is fairly straightforward, starting with crushing, then mixing, compression, drying, and finally waterproofing. All these processes are easily scalable, and thus the greatest problems associated with the expansion of mod roof's manufacturing are related to location upon an increase in production. In terms of location, the most important factor that should be taken into consideration is the plant's access to main roads in the area. This will aid in the ease of reception of raw materials that go into making the roofing, such as the recycled cardboard, as well as the subsequent distribution of said roofing. Additionally, locating the factory near a river or other body of water could benefit in the power generation needed to run the plant, as hydroelectric power can be utilized. In satisfying these two prerequisites, the group decided on locating the plant alongside the Guandu River, which is about an hour northwest of Rio, where the highest city favelas are situated in Brazil. In expanding manufacturing into Brazil, actions must be taken to ensure quality control over the production of mod roof. For each stage of the manufacturing process, the use of statistical process control, or SPC, can ensure that the quality of the products is maintained throughout. Also, data collection will need to occur regarding mod roof's sustained performance post-installation to aid in observing any trends, good or bad, on the product's effectiveness in the region. Moving on to the marketing aspect, there are a few key tactics that can be employed to spread the word on mod roof. First off, Rematerials will need knowledgeable door-to-door advocates and salespeople who will speak to individuals in favelas with inadequate roofing. laying the foundation for the product's customer base in Brazil. Ensuring samples of the material are present for these interactions is integral, as tangibility is extremely important when showcasing a relatively unknown product to a new market. In terms of advertising, physical marketing is much more effective than digital marketing in informing potential customers on Modroof, especially when considering the financial situation of the product's customer base. Those in favelas are much less likely to be influenced by radio or television ads in comparison to posters, flyers, or even samples of the product. With these ubiquitous methods of marketing, local advocacy will begin to grow for Modroof, leading to an increase of word-of-mouth marketing by customers to their friends, family members, or neighbors, allowing Modroof to spread to an even wider Brazilian audience.
Financing is an important aspect for Rematerials' continued operation in order to cover the underlying costs associated with producing the Modroof tiles. Primary financing and other financial services are recommended to be obtained from financial aid agencies, which are categorized in three groups: non-governmental agencies, multilateral development bank, and other financial institution and government fundings. NGOs with the potential for partnership has been identified based on shared vision for community infrastructure, environmental protection, healthcare, and the economic productivity of the major favela communities of Rio. For instance, Community in Action, a Rio-based non-profit NGO which focused on local-driven community development initiatives, equipping members of the favela communities with the education, connection, and organizational framework. For the case of implementation of Modroof, training of local marketing, manufacturing, and sales personnel could be hosted through the established framework for driving change. NDBs and other financial institutions will have critical roles as a partner in this venture. With their development finance programs, Rematerials can obtain financial support during the early market phase. As a result, consumers can obtain microfinance services, which makes the products more affordable. Other financial institutions, such as Inter-American Development Bank, has loaned approximately $150 million to improve favela infrastructure and to build community services. And the Brazil Development Bank also has similar financial program, which is mainly used to make purchase of imported and exported machinery, equipment, and goods. Lastly, banks such as BBVA offers microcredit services, which can act as a means to help cover the initial costs for households that Modroof will benefit the most. Despite the reduction in favela upgrading funding, Rematerials can present other opportunity to government partnership for other interests, including economic waste management and healthcare, targeting government-operated departments such as the Ministry of Environment and their publicly funded healthcare system, SUS, can allow for additional vendors to obtain further financial partnership. For example, from the waste management and environmental standpoint, Modroof will use recycled material obtained from community. This initiative will address a long-standing issue among the favela communities that experience polluted environments and a lack of properly regulated waste management. A tiered pricing model of Modroof is recommended in order to attract both middle and low-income households. To target the middle-class income bracket, Modroof can be provided at Atacar Host, which is a public distribution channel in Brazil. It is a wholesale and a retail blend that utilize cash and carry concepts of payment process. For lower-income favela residents, a door-to-door service should be provided. Furthermore, additional feature package can be provided in the future. Packages include Modroof tiles fitted with a solar panel for on-site electricity generation, roofing configurations that allow for rainwater collection and storage, or additional construction material instead of the default roofing support. This package would be priced at a higher point, which could be used for further reducing the base cost for the default more roof package.
In conclusion, there will be challenges that need to be faced by rematerials in order to successfully bring ModRoof to Brazil. Ones to highlight include the expensive challenge of collecting waste and moving coconut fibers across the country. Rematerials may have to receive financial help from companies. The challenge of funding and location for expanding ModRoof's manufacturing into Brazil, and the challenge of successfully marketing ModRoof to the hard-to-reach. Key activities to get started on include setting up a full-time operation team in the region, a market penetration research to provide information on the targeted consumer group. This research would start with a sample set of families interested in favela home construction and research their benefit requirements, buying habits, the current price points of roof construction, potential competition, potential customers, and the accessibility of this product to the customers. Other key activities include the performing of field surveys partnered with local waste pickers and management companies to identify reduction in waste in communities. And after a longer period of operation, it is then recommended to convene with participants receiving ModRoof to identify areas for improvement and iteration in product and business model. With similar situations seen in India and Brazil, expanding ModRoof to Brazil would be both beneficial to rematerials and to the people living in the favelas. With the large untapped Brazil market and a need for improving housing environments, ModRoof will fill that gap and mitigate many of the ongoing problems seen in favelas.